Hey gamers, Maniac here, once again talking about the Midsummer Fantasy Renaissance Fair, which took place in Warsaw Park, Ansonia, Connecticut. I just attended on Sunday, yesterday, when I'm recording this, so it's all fresh in my mind. This is the second year I've attended. Princess Angel and I went by ourselves. Oh wow, this was a whole new story, whole new bunch of people attended. But it still had the feel and the vibe, because I really fondly remembered last year's. For those of you who remember my review of last year's Midsummer Fantasy Renaissance Fair, that was the first Renaissance Fair I had ever attended in my life, and I couldn't rave enough about it. This story was about the invasion. This was about just a massive invasion of basically this group calling themselves the Dominion, led by a general that was pretty damn powerful. He looked pretty badass in pretty badass armor. And there was another guy, it was like, I believe it was called the Primarch, if I remember correctly. Bad dude. Very bad, but naughty dude. By bad I mean naughty dude, not bad as in poor dude, I mean naughty dude. And yes, he had this staff that was able to cast spells, and he was a pretty tough cookie, basically. I don't want to give too much away, basically, because the event is going to be going on for 4th of July weekend, and I don't want to spoil anything about the story. In comparison to last year's story, however, it was a big difference. It was a big clash between last year's story, because last year's story had a lot of humor into it. While there was still an overarching sense of, you know, something may go wrong here. For the most part, last year's story about the Gauntlet was very much tongue-in-cheek. But also, it didn't have, like, this year had a sense of dread. But that was very intentional, basically. This was a story that was like, we in trouble. We're in trouble. This, you know, we can't stand against this Dominion. And you're watching every scene, and I watched every scene with the exception of the opening ceremony, not the ceremony. They usually will do an opening just before they open up the gates to anybody in the parking lot, basically, where they set the stage for what's going on, and we missed that, unfortunately, but I did get the chance to see all the other bits. And like I said, there was an overarching sense of dread this year, which was a lot different than I was expecting. Because last year was like, and I talked about it, like, their story was very fun. There were a lot of, you know, there were Pokemon jokes. There was none of that this year, probably because, you know, this isn't a story as conducted to humor. This is a story where this is the Empire story, basically. This is the story where the heroes with their backs against the walls. How do they redeem with that? And I'm sure for a lot of people, you're going to find a lot to like with that kind of story. It's a very different type of story than last year. I did like there were a couple of nods to last year's story, though. Particularly the story about what happened to the guy, to the town criers or proclaimers costume, that he burned it and just and buried it somewhere because of how stupid it was. I did like those. I did like that those references to last year's story. But those were, for the most part, the most humorous references of the day's story. So, if you're interested in fantasy epic stories involving heroes with their backs against the wall, go to this event this next weekend, because you're going to find a lot to like there. For me personally, again, this is a matter of taste. I think I preferred last year's story, which was a bit more, you know, humorous and a bit more fun. But I can immediately imagine that a lot of people would probably prefer this year's story, and that's understandable. But again, it's taste. I still enjoyed both stories just fine. Because a lot of today was focused specifically on the invasion storyline, I didn't get a chance, unfortunately, to check out too many people that were in the that were showing their stuff or doing special acts. Like, there were certain acts that were only playing on certain days, basically. As far as I know, like the Questless Company, who I really enjoyed last year, I got to see them at the Robin Hood Fair this year, so that was great. There were people, though, that were there that I really want to talk about specifically. Guido Libido was performing in the pub. He calls himself the Hopeless Romantic. He was performing for the 21 and over crowd, and telling some very bawdy tales, which I will not get into here, or else I may get a YouTube, an 18+ strike or something like that. Not a copyright strike, but an 18+ strike. And we're not going to do that. However, they were carding for those particular, anything that was performing inside the pub, basically, were allowed to be 21 and up. And they were carding everybody going into the pub. And so because of that, they were allowed to do 21 and over comedy shows. Guido Libido, the hopeless romantic, was one of them, and he was telling some very funny stories. I really enjoyed him. Loved his costume. My girlfriend took plenty of pictures of him. He liked it. When he saw her taking pictures of him, he literally stood up on a chair in front of her and like, yes, yes, take pictures of me. Take me all, get all of me. Thank you, Guido. You'll be on her webpage later. I assure you, you will probably be on her official webpage pretty soon, if not today, later this week. So I'll make sure to inform you of that when that happens. But yes, she is currently editing photos of you as well as many of the other people that were at the fair. A particular guy that I was hoping to see, I did get a chance to see him. The Creepy Bard was performing along with the Captain. They were doing 21 and over music, which I again cannot recite here. These were dirty songs. And it was great to hear the Creepy Bard, because I've seen the Creepy Bard's YouTube channel. He's on YouTube. I've seen him perform at 3 Pine Shy as 3 Pine Shy. I don't remember if 3 Pine Shy was performing this weekend, but I usually, when I've seen the Creepy Bard, he was usually performing with 3 Pine Shy, or he has his own dedicated YouTube channel. But this was a time when I got to see him singing his dirty songs with the Captain. Oh, those are dirty songs. Children, do not look up those dirty songs. I can tell you that. So anyways, that was great too to watch. A surprise one we just kind of walked into, a showing we just kind of walked into. We enjoyed Christopher the Witch Doctor. Awesome guy. Not just because the guy was doing some cool stuff. He put my girlfriend and I up on stage, and he had some kind of hypnosis act that he did to the two of us, which was pretty fun and pretty cute. And he's like, okay, I'm touching. It's like I think at one point he like touched her, and then I felt it, or he felt, something along those lines, basically. That was cool. But what I really liked about Christopher the Witch Doctor, and Christopher, if you're watching this, I'll tag you on this video. I'll tell you this right now. The thing I most appreciate about him was that he was telling folk tales and stuff like that along with this. He was talking about stories about the Wendigo. For anybody who's seen my Let's Play of Until Dawn would know. And in fact, I mentioned this specifically to him. Have you played Until Dawn? Christopher has not. Christopher, if you haven't played Until Dawn, watch my Let's Play of it. You'll see what I'm talking about. But yes, so he was. One thing I really appreciated the way he warmed up the crowd before he started doing some pretty cool stuff. I won't spoil everything he did, but yes, okay, he did drive a needle through his hand. Real, it was not a trick. He really did that. But yes, the thing I really liked was his talk about folk tales and stuff like that. Very informative, especially for some of the people who didn't know those folk tales. All accurate, as far as I know, to the mythologies, of course. And he's probably studied them much longer than I have. So it was exciting to hear, people who hadn't heard these stories hear them. See these people hear these stories for the first time. Of course, we couldn't not miss Daniel Greenwolf. And Daniel, if you're watching this video, once again, he did a fantastic show, hilarious, fire breathing, fire manipulation. We were such a fan of his last year. We had to go see him again. He did an act. It was just as great as we all remembered it. Crowds were around him all day. We got pictures of him. Pictures of him are coming. Again, we'll be posting up pictures of him later on. Probably my girlfriend took tons of pictures of him. What about other stuff? Well, the merchants and the goods were all back this year. I didn't see the guy selling Turkish goods, unfortunately. He was at the Robin Hood Fair, if I remember correctly. But I didn't see him. Maybe he just wasn't there on that day, because I remember he was there last year. He was at the Robin Hood Fair earlier this year. But no, there were no Turkish goods, at least on the Sunday I went. But there were plenty of other stuff that were selling. They were selling, obviously, lemonades, iced teas. The guys selling barbecue were back. I went for the pie maker. I finally tried the pie maker. I meant to try the pie maker last year. I went for barbecue last year. I decided to go for pies this year, meat pies. There was a 6-pence pie company that was there. I cannot rave enough about their pies. I had shepherd's pie earlier this year from them at the Robin Hood Festival. I had another pie from them, a different pie. They actually had, and I'm not kidding about this, mashed potato, bacon, and cheddar pie. And my girlfriend and I had that at this event, and it was good. What a show! You know, that was great. I was really happy about them. Of course, there was other stuff being sold by other vendors. They of course had bread bowls, Faire, Faire food, clam chowders and bread bowls and stuff like that. Turkey legs, obviously. And of course, there was another vendor. It was like, again, this is a fair, so they had hamburgers, hot dogs, stuff like that was also being sold. They had the barbecue guys. They had people selling ice cream. I had an ice cream brownie this year, not alcoholic. Although there is an alcoholic brownie on the menu. I did not have the alcoholic brownie. I had just the regular ice cream, vanilla, chocolate sauce, chocolate brownie. It was good. I definitely enjoyed that. Okay, final thoughts really quick. I think it was a good show. I really enjoyed it. It's going on one more weekend coming up for 4th of July. Go check it out. If there was one recommendation I could make, would be to do at least one fewer invasion storyline show, because there were so many invasion storyline shows going on that we had to basically sacrifice going to see somebody else, and that was a little bit unfortunate. But we enjoyed it. Till next time, guys, this is Maniac with GameXS.net. Over and out.